Welcome to my final, the 100 Season 1 episode review video, as this is the Season 1 finale. Before I talk about that, though, pretty important, if you haven't watched through Season 1, Episode 13 of the 100, then it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. In full disclosure, I've already watched the 100 all the way through one time. I really like the show, although I think it falls off the final two seasons, so join me on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comments section. With that said, this will be the 100, Season 1, Episode 13, the Season 1 finale. The title of this episode is called We Are Grounders Part 2, and this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start with Clark, who cauterizes Raven's gunshot wound caused by Murphy. Bellamy flips through Lincoln's journal and comes to a drawing of a Reaper and asks if the Reapers might help them fight the incoming Grounders. Clark tells him it is not an option. She then tells Raven that she cannot walk with a bullet still inside her, and Finn goes to get a gurney. Bellamy calls Finn a coward for wanting to leave, and Clark interrupts, telling them it is time to go. Finn leaves, and Clark tells Bellamy she needs Bellamy with them because the 100 are willing to fight and die for Bellamy. On their way out of the camp, Bellamy mentions that there are 18 dead, and Clark tells him there are 82 people who are still alive, and they did good. Octavia brings everyone to a halt, sensing something. A blade comes flying out through the trees and unfortunately kills Drew. Jasper screams out, "Grounders!" and all of the 100 flee back behind the walls of the camp. Clark realizes that they are doing exactly what the Grounders want them to do, returning to the camp so they are back in place for the assault. With the Grounder scouts already outside, Clark realizes it is not safe for them to try and leave camp again, and they need to stay and fight. Bellamy tells the gunners to get to their posts and to close the gates. Octavia takes off with the gunners, and Bellamy stops her, telling her she's not a gunner. She tells him she's a grounder, like he said. Inside the dropship, Bellamy and Raven tell Clark and Finn that the main entrance road has been booby-trapped with landmines, and that Raven has built a couple of grenades. Bellamy plans to keep the Grounders at bay using guns, grenades, and the landmines to hold the gate. Raven notes that if the Grounders get through the gate, they will have to hide inside the dropship and close the door and pray. Clark suggests using the remaining rocket fuel from the dropship to fire the rockets once the Grounders have surrounded the dropship, which would burn the Grounders alive. Raven says she can do that. Sinclair informs Jaha, Marcus Kane, and the other inhabitants of the Ark about the workings and possible consequences of bringing the Ark to Earth, explaining that some parts of the Ark will be destroyed when entering the atmosphere, along with the people inside. Jaha tells the representatives that they have no choice if they do not want them all to die. Clark and Finn are underneath the dropship looking for its ignition system when Raven reveals that she cannot feel her legs anymore. Clark discovers that the bullet is in Raven's spine and that she is bleeding internally. Finn suggests going to Lincoln's cave to get some of the collegian stuff, or the Culligan stuff that the Grounders use, and leaves to go get it. Jaha tells the traveler, or Jaha gives the traveler's blessing across the PA and tells Sinclair to begin their journey back to Earth. Sinclair tries to remotely separate the Ark stations from the GOSSCI and the Earth moderating system with explosives so they can then use the Ark's thrusters to blast them towards Earth, but the remote detonation fails. Sinclair informs Jaha that someone will have to manually detonate the bombs and stay behind. Marcus Kane volunteers and is ready to leave. Abby asks how much air Kane will have. Sinclair tells her that Kane will have 1 week, 2 weeks at most. Suddenly, the bomb explodes, shaking the Ark. Jaha tells Abby from the Earth monitoring station that she will see her daughter soon. The Ark station separates from GOSSCI and head for Earth as the thrusters activate. Grounders start to appear. Bellamy joins Miller and Monroe in a foxhole as other gunners start reporting Grounders moving across their lines of vision. Bellamy then sees Grounders moving around, and Monroe and Miller start firing as Bellamy told them to hold their fire, but they already are out of ammo. Meanwhile, Clark searches for an orange wire that is the dropship's ignition. When Clark finds the wire, she discovers it to be broken. Raven asks Clark if she knows how to splice a wire over the walkie-talkie. Jasper informs Raven and Clark that the landmines are working. Clark realizes Jasper can slice a wire. Clark calls for Jasper to get in the dropship. And in the West Foxhole, Jasper realizes the grounders are drawing their fire to deplete their ammunition, and he tells the gunners to stop firing. Bellamy orders the gunners to not shoot unless the grounders are directly attacking. The grounders troops lead by Tristan and Anya have one of the walkie-talkies and hears Bellamy's commands while they have John Murphy tied to a tree. The grounder general Tristan stabs Murphy in the leg for not telling him about the minefield and decides to go in for the attack. When the grounders finally attack their foxhole, Monroe flees, Miller is hit in the shoulder with a spear, and Bellamy is knocked down. The grounder who knocked Bellamy down tries to choke him, but his head is impaled by a sword as Octavia saves Bellamy. Octavia is hit in the thigh with an arrow quickly after, and Bellamy tries to carry her back to the dropship. Finn gets to Lincoln's cave and looks for the antidote, the thing that could help her with the infection. Lincoln appears and gives him that, and then hears the battle over the radio. He decides to go with Finn to the camp. Finn sees one of Lincoln's sketches of a Reaper and is reminded of Bellamy's idea to use them. Clark and Jasper are underneath the dropship, and Clark asks Raven to repeat the direction but receives no response. When Clark goes to check on her, she sees Raven has lost consciousness. One of the gunners announces through the walkie-talkie that the grounders have broken through. Clark tells Jasper to finish their wiring of the ignition system while she goes outside to check out the situation. She tells the gunners they need more time and to stay at their posts and hold off the grounders while the others get inside the dropship. A bright light suddenly lights up the night sky, distracting everyone on the ground. Clark realizes that it's the Ark entering the atmosphere. One of the Ark's stations explodes, killing everyone inside. Finn and Lincoln arrive back at the camp, having led the Reapers to Anya and Tristan and the other Grounder warriors outside the camp. The Reaper and Grounders engage in a violent battle as Finn escapes into the camp through the tunnel entrance. Lincoln comes across Octavia and Bellamy and says he can help her, but they need to leave now. Bellamy tells Octavia that his life did not end when Octavia was born, but that it hadn't started until then. Bellamy tells Lincoln to keep Octavia safe, and Lincoln carries a crying Octavia away while Bellamy hides near a tree, or behind a tree near the battling Grounders and Reapers. Anya, Tristan, and other warriors succeed in killing the Reapers, and they turn around toward the camp's wall. Clark injects Raven with that collegiate. Miller comes in and informs them that the Grounders are taking down the gate. Jasper announces that he is ready with the ignition system. The Grounders breach the gate, and Clark yells at the people outside to get inside the dropship. Bellamy returns through the secret entrance, but sees Tristan slaughtering the 100. He picks up a gun, and there are no bullets, and Tristan begins attacking him. Finn grabs a gun and runs to Bellamy's aid, but the two of them are left outside while Clark reluctantly goes inside the dropship and closes the door as the Grounders breach the camp. Anya, however, quickly jumps over the door and is locked inside with the 100. Anya stands ready to fight the 100 with two blades. Clark tells Jasper to push the button, but it doesn't work. Outside, the Grounders are making their way up to the sides of the dropship while Anya begins to attack. She is easily overpowered by the numerous 100 as Clark stops Miller from killing Anya by reminding them they are not Grounders. Jasper realizes he forgot the magnet and reroutes the connection through the magnet, blasting the dropship's rockets, incinerating the Grounders outside. Jaha attempts to connect any surviving stations and is able to reach Abby on Micha Station, who was with Kane and St. Clair. She tells them they landed successfully and goes outside and describes her experience of the Earth to an emotional Jaha. Kane joins her outside and spots smoke in the distance. in the mountains. Abby thinks it may be one of the other stations, and Jaha advises her to go check it out. Jaha then goes out to the airlock and watches Earth as he uncorks a bottle of liquor named the Baton, which is to be opened on Earth, and opens it up saying, "This will have to do." Jaha, alone on the Ark and having only 1 or 2 weeks left of oxygen, toasts to the survivors of the Ark, saying, "May we meet again." The 100 and a bound Anya leave the dropship to find the ashes and skeletons that were a result of the rocket's ignition. All of a sudden, several red smoke grenades are thrown over the camp's walls, and Anya says fearfully, "Mountain men!" as the red smoke begins to knock out the 100 and Anya. Clark's last image is several men in gas masks and military outfits with laser-sighted rifles enter the camp, and a mountain man pointing his gun and laser at her. And then we have Clark awakening in a completely white room where she is being monitored. It is furnished with a bed, a toilet, a couch, and several other items. She is wearing a white tank top, white pants, no shoes, and has an IV stuck inside her, which she, of course, immediately pulls out. On the wall, Clark notices Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. She then goes to the locked door and sees Monty banging on the door of a similar room across the hall, but his door is also locked. A plaque on Monty's side of the hall says Mount Weather Quarantine Ward. Clark has a panicked look on her face, and that's what ends this episode and season 1 of The 100. So it was okay. It was good. I'm going to give it an 8.7 out of 10. And my character of the episode, I mean, there were a lot of good performances in this episode. Bellamy was good. Raven was good. Clark is good. I'm going to give it to Finn. I don't give Finn enough credit, but he's actually a really strong character on the show. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The 100 and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. Share this video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are regarding this episode of The 100. What would you rate it? Who would you choose as a character of the episode? I know there are many choices. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100K subscribers. Yes, I know I set my goals pretty high. Join the team, share your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.